Reddeos presents r/AskReddit. If you enjoy the video, show your support by commenting, liking and subscribing to the channel. What fact is common knowledge to people who work in your field, but almost unknown to the rest of the population? An elevator will go up to the top of the hoist instead of crash to the floor in most catastrophic failures due to the counterweights. Coffee shops spend more on milk than coffee. Edit. This comment thread went nuts. Anyway, here's some of my latte art just because. Most people are not good at detecting lies, and consistently score no better than chance, 50/50, when tested. The score goes up slightly when it's someone they know that they're talking to, but not much. Ironically, most people rate themselves as very good at detecting lies, but they're wrong. A corporate policy of requiring users to change their passwords every 90 days does not make your system more secure. It tends to actually make things less secure. There is a surprising amount of infrastructure under your feet. You'd be surprised how much public utility runs underneath private property. Always call before you dig. There is no difference between a violin and a fiddle other than how you play it. In some museums, what you see on the shelves can be less than 10% of the whole collection. For example, the Louvre has over 460,000 items in their collection, and only has space to display about 35,000 of those, roughly 7.6% of their total collection, due to limited physical space, and for aesthetic purposes, most items in museums stay back in storage and /or archives. Plus, most items need to be maintained at certain temperatures and light. If we can't meet those needs, it will never be allowed for public viewing, ever. There are most likely some of the most amazing, visually stunning pieces of artwork that you or anyone will never get to see. Bonus, accession and de-accession can also be a touchy area. Just because it's old, doesn't mean we're going to take it and add it to the collections, and we try to be nice to people who are disappointed we won't take their precious family heirlooms. Other times, it's easier just to say, yeah, we don't want that. Edited. For correct percentage of the Louvre's collection, it's lower than I thought. Edited again. For those who were asking, I have a BA in art history, and a master's in museum studies. I presently work as a digital preservation librarian in the archives and AMP, special collections of a university, and have worked in numerous museums / universities all over the world. It's been quite a fulfilling job. I've handled artwork from Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Warhol, Pollock, Picasso, and many more. Ask away, and I'll answer if I can. Heartworms are treatable for dogs, but not for cats. Also, keep on top of your heartworm prevention for your dog. If they get heartworm but you can prove that they've been continually covered, which isn't difficult, the receipts are good enough, and your vet will have them in their database, then the heartworm prevention manufacturer will pay for the treatment. Man, I love that you all love your pets. That if your IT guy is not busy, he is doing a good job, not a bad one, and you don't need to fire them. Touching your fresh tattoo with your unwashed fingers is bad. It's absurd how many times we have to tell this to people. Virtually every piece of copper, aluminum, or steel you come across has been chopped to bits, refined, melted down and used to make whatever object it's a part of. Dozens, if not hundreds of times. Copper pipe probably started out as hundreds of different wires from various devices from around the world at one point. The toner in your printer is plastic being melted onto the paper. The maximum spacing between spindles in a railing is 4 because that's the average size of a baby's head. Most building officials will carry a force sphere with them when doing inspections on new construction. No one is going to see your website if you don't have a strategy to drive traffic there. For whatever reason, people seem to think if you put something online people are, at best, going to flock to it in droves, or at worst at least stumble across it accidentally. But that's 100% not going to happen. Nobody's just going to stumble on your website. It's like putting a restaurant on the moon, not telling anybody about it then wondering why no one's eating there. There is no such thing as a perfectly functioning aircraft. Every plane you fly on has a multitude of maintenance issues, just not severe enough to affect safety of flight. Edit, effect vs effect. Edit, my apologies to everyone boarding a plane today. Rest assured, this is nothing to worry about. Planes are still the safest way to travel. Happy smiley. An electrical engineer isn't an electrician. Most 911 calls an ambulance receives on a daily basis are not remotely close to being emergencies. Being a civil attorney, we almost never go to jury trial and the job can be unbelievably boring. Nominal pipe diameters are not indicative of their actual diameter. So a one pipe is rarely actually one in either outside or inside diameter. Why? I have no idea. But if you drill a hole of exact diameter and stick that pipe in there, you're going to have a bad time. Turning your computer or phone off and on again will fix a solid 70 to 80% of all problems the device likely has. Being a stockbroker does not mean I know how you can turn $100 into $1 million by next month. Stop texting me. I worked as an insurance adjuster. Most people have no idea what homeowners insurance actually does. Here is a very simple guide to understanding what is covered by homeowners insurance. And GT, a sudden and one-time occurrence. While there are some exceptions to this, understanding those few words will help you understand 95% of what is and is not covered by your policy. Note, my experience applies to US insurance only. When you delete a file from your HD, only the information of how to reach these memory slots coherently is deleted. The raw information remains there until overwritten. That's why companies should destroy their disks on decommission instead of just formatting them. If you stick your eardrum with an object, you will start to cough. This happens because the nerves interconnect, en vagus. I hope this information helps you in future battles. Neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson, starts way before the first symptoms appears. No one wake up suddenly one day with Alzheimer's. From actual data, it seems that the disease is rampant for 10 to 15 years before the first symptoms. Some research say that you can start identifying abnormalities 20 plus years before the memory loss begin. And it works for all neurodegenerative diseases alike. You would think all the heavily relied upon server infrastructures were super secure and highly redundant. Ha 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 ha. In jewelry, a diamond is a luxury expense, not an investment. Gold is the investment. If you try to sell your engagement ring, you'll get maybe 20% of what you initially paid for it. Jewelers can get diamonds for a fraction of what you paid for it. In designing 3D games, many programmers, even in big gaming companies, still have a of trouble with colliders, making it so the player doesn't fall through the floor, /wall through walls, etc. Everything should work correctly, but no. The solution? Nose. We all just layer dozens of colliders on top of each other and hope for the best. Why do you think there are so many walking through corner glitches? Edit. There are probably some programmers and companies who have this down, but I'm not 100% certified to talk about this or anything in all honesty. I'm just an indie game designer and have discussed this with other people who have much more experience, some who work for companies like Microsoft and can confirm that this happens. Another edit. Sorry for multiple edits, but thanks for Silver Award. Happy smiley. In scoring for film, the orchestra / ensemble actually plays the music live as the movie is played behind them. It is recorded and synced. Edit. Should have specified the conductor, who is usually the composer, stands facing the screen and has a small screen in front of them with different colored bars to indicate starting / stopping and pace, as well as other cues and insets. Composers have watched the film beforehand and are often frequent collaborators with certain directors. As a chemist, the thing that gets me every time is the "I don't want chemicals in my" statement. Literally, everything is a chemical. Susan, Karen. Edit, added Karen, because the internet has come to a consensus. The best treatment for a child with anxiety is treating their parents' anxiety. There is a period of time every year that in the US, the Department of Transportation pulls over any and every truck that they can. During this period many trucking companies take vacation time, as the potential hassle is not worth the money made during this time. You don't defibrillate asystole, flatline cardiac rhythm, like they do on TV. It's a non-shockable rhythm. Organic foods aren't necessarily grown without chemicals. There's a ton of organic label pesticides out there, many of which are just as toxic as their synthetic counterparts. Edit for clarification. When I say grown without chemicals, I was referring to man-made products like fertilizers and insecticides / herbicides. No, all crops are produced with chemicals. Water, technically, is a chemical. Also, thanks for the platinum / gold. The essential in essential oils doesn't mean it is essential to your body or health. It basically means that it is the pure essence of that particular plant or flower. So many people have taken this to mean that they are literally essential to our health and well-being. It hurts my brain. How many people actually drive a car before it gets to the dealer? Edit, wow, this really blew up. Thank you anonymous Redditor for the silver. Your new house you just built probably has much better insulation than your old house from the 70s. Since the house is much more energy efficient, the size of the furnace and / or air conditioner may be smaller than what you had at your old house even if the new house is larger. No, we can't use rules of thumb to size your vac equipment no matter what Google says. We have to use a load calculation and that has to be approved by the building department. Bonus, having an vac system that runs all the time but just barely gets you to the temperature you want is more energy efficient than a larger system that turns off and on all of the time. Even if it seems like the system is running constantly. Most herbal supplements can and will give you adverse / side effects when mixed with other medications. Always tell your doctor everything you're taking. Office copiers cost upwards of $7,000. Some can go for $15,000-$20,000 depending on print speed and capacity. Not everyone who works in a library is a librarian. Bonus, librarians have master's degrees. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe.